Linda is reading an excerpt from the Song of Hiawatha by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. The Song of Hiawatha is a very long poem with at least 20 sections. The excerpt Linda is reading from is section 7 called Hiawatha Sailing. Please welcome Linda Belling.
Thank you, Pete. No. The manual recommends including a short introduction in addition to what's given by the Toastmaster. I'd like to share with you the inspiration for choosing this particular poem. I happened to see an episode of On the Road with Charles Kuralt where he featured an elderly gentleman who still makes birch canoes the way Hiawatha might have. And they discussed the fact that this skill is being lost, and this knowledge is being lost. But this gentleman was training his grandson, I believe, to continue to build canoes in this way. And he finished his segment with the last few stanzas of the section I'm going to read, and it moved me a great deal. I also want to share with you that there are some Native American words sprinkled through this poem. One of them is chimon, which is the Native American word for a canoe. Geesis, which is the word for the sun. And they mention a river called the Taquamina. That's a river in Michigan. The spelling of the name of the river has changed somewhat, but the river is still there. There are parks and campgrounds around it, and people still sail the Taquamina. Give me of your bark, O birch tree, of your yellow bark, O birch tree, growing by the rushing river, tall and stately in the valley. I a light canoe will build me, build a swift chimon for sailing, that shall float upon the river, like a yellow leaf in autumn, like a yellow water lily. Lay aside your cloak, O birch tree, lay aside your white skin wrapper, for the summertime is coming, and the sun is warm in heaven, and you need no white skin wrapper. Thus aloud cried Hiawatha in the solitary forest, by the rushing Taquamina, when the birds were singing gaily. In the moon of leaves were singing, and the sun from sleeping awaking started up and said, Behold me, Geesis, the great sun, behold me. And the tree with all its branches rustled in the breeze of morning, saying with a sigh of patience, Take my cloak, O Hiawatha. With his knife the tree he girdled just beneath its lowest branches. Just above the roofs he cut it, till the sap came oozing outward. Down from trunk, from top to bottom, sheer he cleft the bark asunder. With a wooden wedge he raised it, stripped it from the tree unbroken. Give me of your boughs, O cedar, of your strong and pliant branches, my canoe to make more steady, make more strong and firm beneath me. Through the summit of the cedar went a sound, a cry of horror, went a murmur of resistance. But it whispered, bending downward, Take my boughs, O Hiawatha. Down he hewed the boughs of cedar, shaped them straight away to a framework. Like two bows he formed and shaped them, like two bended bows together. Give me of your roots, O tamarack, of your fibrous roots, O larch tree, my canoe to bind together, so to bind the ends together that the river may not enter, that the river may not wet me. And the larch, with all its fibers, shivered in the air of morning, touched his forehead with its tassels, said with one long sigh of sorrow, Take them all, O Hiawatha. From the earth he tore the fibers, tore the tough roots of the larch tree, closely sewed the bark together, bound it closely to the framework. Give me of your balm, O fir tree, of your balsam and your resin, so to close the seams together, that the river may not enter, that the river may not wet me. And the fir tree, tall and somber, sobbed through all the robes of darkness, rattled like a shore with pebbles, answered wailing, answered weeping, take my balm, O Hiawatha. And he took the tears of balsam, took the resin of the fir tree, smeared therewith each seam and fissure, made each crevice safe from water. Give me of your quills, O hedgehog, all your quills, O Ka the hedgehog. I will make a necklace of them, make a girdle for my beauty, and 2 stars to deck her bosom. From a hollow tree the hedgehog with his sleepy eyes looked at him, shot his shining quills like arrows, saying with a drowsy murmur through the tangle of his whiskers, take my quills, O Hiawatha. From the ground the quills he gathered, all the shining little arrows, stained them red and blue and yellow with the juice of roots and berries. Into his canoe he wrought them, round its waist a shining girdle, round its bows a gleaming necklace, on its breast 2 stars resplendent. Thus the birch canoe was builded, in the valley, by the river, in the bosom of the forest. And the forest life was in it, all its mystery and its magic, all the lightness of the birch tree, all the toughness of the cedar, all the larch's supple sinews. And it floated on the river like a yellow leaf in autumn, like a yellow water lily.